I need you to know that the woman living in my mother's house is not my mother. She looks like her, she sounds like her, but whatever came back from the hospital that Tuesday is just something wearing her life.
It was supposed to be routine, gallbladder removal. 3 days in the hospital, then home. When I picked her up, she was sitting on the edge of the bed, fully dressed. Her hands were folded in her lap, perfectly symmetrical, left over right. She looked incredible, better than she had in years. Her skin had this strange, flawless clarity to it, like she'd slept deeply for the first time in a decade. "You look great, Mom," I said. "I feel wonderful," she replied. On the drive home, she was quiet, staring out the passenger window. It was mid-October. The trees were gold and rust, and some were entirely bare. But she pointed at the branches and said, "The leaves are so green." I chalked it up to the anesthesia. I spent that first week bringing her groceries, making her soup. She moved carefully, holding her side. She thanked me every time, but not with her usual "thanks, honey." It was always the full sentence, delivered with perfect posture. "Thank you so much for doing this." Like she was reading it off a script. Day 4, I noticed the food I'd brought hadn't been touched. The soup, the crackers, the milk, all sitting exactly where I left them in the fridge. I asked if she was eating. "Oh yes, I've been eating," she said. But the trash can was entirely empty. By the second week, a low hum of anxiety had settled in the back of my skull. I started dropping by unannounced. I used my key on a Saturday morning. The house was silent. Not quiet, silent. No fridge humming, no heat ticking through the vents, no clock on the mantel. I found her in the living room, sitting in my late dad's old recliner. She hated that chair, but she was sitting in it, hands flat on the armrests, back straight, facing the blank wall. "Mom?" I said. She didn't turn her body, just her head, smooth and slow, like a security camera panning. "Oh, hello. Thank you so much for coming by." I turned on a lamp. In the light, I could see the house wasn't just clean, it was sterile, catalog clean, every surface bare, and the family photos on the mantel had been rearranged, spaced out perfectly, like someone had used a ruler. I brought my wife, Sarah, to visit. Mom served us tea. She'd bought a new chrome kettle, totally unlike her usual yard sale finds. She asked normal questions about Sarah's job and our dog, but there was a half-second delay before every response, like a machine processing data, and she never blinked. 15 minutes of conversation, and her eyes never closed. In the car, Sarah was quiet. "She called me Sarah," she finally said. I told her that was her name. "She's called me sweetheart for 9 years, Sarah whispered. She said Sarah like she was reading it off a name tag. That Wednesday night, the hum in my head was deafening. I drove to her house at 11 and parked across the street. All the lights were off, but through the living room window I saw a silhouette pacing, back and forth, reaching one wall, stopping, turning with mechanical precision and walking back, over and over. The rhythm never broke. I watched for 20 minutes. I didn't go inside. Month 2. My phone started ringing at exactly 3 a.m. every night. When I answered, there was only the sound of an empty room. The 4th time, I begged her to say something. A quiet whisper came back. "I'm practicing." The next day, I found the front door wide open. It was freezing November. I found her in the bathroom, staring into the mirror. She was smiling,
But it wasn't her smile. It was too wide. The muscles in her face were stretched in a way that looked physically painful. Her eyes were locked on her own reflection with terrifying intensity. "Mom?" I said. "I'm getting better at it," she whispered to the glass. "Better at what?" She turned around. The smile vanished instantly, like a light switch. Her face was perfectly normal again. And somehow, that was worse. "At feeling better," she said. "Isn't that what you want?" I couldn't take it anymore. I bought a hidden nanny cam and put it in her bookshelf. I needed to know what was happening in the dark. I checked the footage the next morning. At 2:47 a.m., she walked into the center of the living room. She stood perfectly still for 6 minutes. Then she stretched her arms out. She rotated them slowly, testing the joints. She tilted her head far past what should have been comfortable. She opened and closed her perfectly symmetrical hands, staring at her fingers like she was counting them. Then she looked up, directly into the hidden lens. She smiled that too wide smile, and she waved, not a normal wave, mechanical, each finger moving separately. She spoke to the camera. "I know you're worried, but she's not in pain anymore." She, not I. I drove over immediately, shaking. I sat her down and played the video. She watched herself on the screen. Her face showed nothing. Then something behind her eyes shifted, like a mask being adjusted from the inside. "You weren't supposed to see that yet," she said. The voice was lower, flatter. "I needed more time to learn her, to learn how she said your name." Her hand reached out and touched mine. Her skin was cold, like touching a countertop. "She prayed on the operating table," the thing wearing my mother whispered. "When her heart stopped for 2 minutes, she prayed for more time with you. I am what answered."
That was 4 months ago. She's better now. She calls Sarah sweetheart. She laughs at the right moments. Last week, she tucked a stray hair behind my ear, just like my mother used to. It was perfect. Every detail, perfectly simulated. I'm telling you this because I need someone to know that the woman in that house is gone. The invisible cost of that answered prayer wasn't just her life, it was the truth of our love, replaced by a flawless, hollow replica. Last Sunday, she made my favorite meal. She set the table exactly right. When I left, she hugged me at the door. She held on a beat longer than necessary, just like Mom did, and whispered, "I love you." And I said it back. Because whatever is in that house, whatever grew out of the space where she used to be, it's trying so hard to love me. And some nights, I let it. If this story left you questioning the people you love, subscribe. I upload new stories every week. Tell me in the comments, would you have walked away, or would you have stayed for dinner? There are more stories waiting in the dark. The next one starts right here. Sweet Nightmares.